From my perspective, solitary individuals are often perceived as unconventional, unable to easily integrate into society for some reason. They are usually thought to have traits or attributes that don't align with group expectations. Indeed, in some cases, this is true. Many people who spend a lot of time alone struggle with social interactions. Sometimes these individuals may exhibit hostility towards the world, which can be a result of negative experiences with others. Society often fears the so-called lone wolf because they are surrounded by an aura of mystery and little is known about their activities. Solitude often has a bad reputation since much of our happiness and pleasure comes from interaction. While this is true, other people can also be significant sources of suffering. If a person's interactions have been consistently painful and traumatic, they might prefer solitude over seeking company. This video delves into the essence of loneliness, exploring what philosophers have said about it, and why society sometimes reacts negatively to those who choose it. Please like, comment, and share this video to give me more energy to continue spreading the philosophy that pulled me out of the abyss and completely transformed my life. Thank you all so much. Now let's continue. The charms of solitude are revealed in simple joys. Imagine coming home to a fridge where everything belongs to you alone. This principle extends to your entire living space, which you have organized entirely to your taste without compromising with others. In your space, you are free to do anything at any moment, considering only yourself. Appreciate this unique and irreplaceable freedom. Behind closed doors, many find solitude to be a haven and a fortress of freedom and self-management, where outside wills do not interrupt your own. But does the true value of solitude lie solely in the freedom to do as you wish? Or is there something deeper and more enduring in its essence? From a Stoic perspective, solitude is not just an opportunity to act without limitations. It is a training ground for the soul. Stoics like Marcus Aurelius or Epictetus viewed solitude as a battlefield where one could strengthen the most important virtue, self-control. The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts, wrote Marcus Aurelius in his Meditations. In solitude, free from the unending siege of others' desires and opinions, we have the unique opportunity to observe and guide our thoughts. Here, in the quiet of our surroundings, we can practice the discipline of not giving in to our passions and fears, but acting with reason and purpose. Thus, solitude is not an end in itself, but a tool for achieving authenticity and resilience. In voluntary isolation, one has the chance to face their deepest fears and anxieties, learning to overcome them. This process is not an escape from reality, but a direct confrontation with it, free from the distractions of the external world. Epictetus, who taught to accept with serenity what we cannot change and to focus our efforts on what is within our control, suggested that solitude allows time for reflection and clarification, a sacred space where one can cleanse and strengthen oneself. Beyond the simple freedom of action, solitude offers freedom of thought, the ability to choose not only what to do, but also how to think. In this private space, away from the gaze and influence of others, we can cultivate true independence of spirit. Solitude is pleasant because it frees us from the need to endure other people who, while they may enrich our lives in various ways, can also be significant sources of pain. Let's be honest, in many cases, it's not the workplaces that are toxic, but the people in them. It's not the school itself that makes some children unhappy, but the people. Humans have a talent for making each other's lives miserable, but at the same time, we can also bring each other joy, comfort, and happiness. Thus, human interaction is a constant exchange. The more we engage with others, the more we expose ourselves to the negative aspects of our peers. The more we distance ourselves from society, the less we encounter the toxicity and stress associated with dealing with intrusive, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, envious, and gloomy people, like those Marcus Aurelius described in his daily encounters. It's no surprise that the sage described in the Taoist text, Zhuangzi, rejected a leadership position to live in seclusion by a river, fishing and finding peace. Solitude has its charms, and when a person discovers the joy of solitude, it can become habitual. The absence of critical gazes, the peace, and the freedom are invaluable. As Arthur Schopenhauer wrote, "A man can be himself only when he is alone. If he does not love solitude, he will not love freedom, for it is only when he is alone that he is truly free." Solitude provides a space free from the constraints of social norms, needs, and desires of others. No one can dictate what to do or how to behave, and there is no need to compromise for anyone. You can walk around naked, freely express opinions without fear of political correctness, and indulge in unusual hobbies without worrying about others' judgments. Clearly, it's better to enjoy your own company and ignore others' views than to crave solitude while enduring the presence of others. Time spent alone holds significant value in various spiritual traditions. Indeed, people have been encouraged to withdraw from social life and consider seclusion as a pillar of spiritual enlightenment. Many thinkers throughout history have valued solitude. Henry David Thoreau, in his work Walden, expressed his preference for solitude, which allowed him to escape human hostility and enjoy the beauty of nature. Another philosopher, Nietzsche, valued time in solitude, not as a search for spiritual enlightenment or a closer connection to nature, but as a means to distance himself from what he called slave morality, society's system of values that weakened people and turned them into submissive and resentful beings. Nietzsche criticized both the shepherd and the master's morality, seeing both as components of the same system of oppression and submission. For Nietzsche, solitude provided the opportunity to surpass this system, allowing the creation of new, individual values beyond the commonly accepted ones. If you like this content, please like and subscribe to the channel. We have much wisdom to share with you each week. Thank you. Continuing on, essentially, solitude gives us the opportunity to better understand ourselves, embrace our individuality, and reflect on how we want to live our lives genuinely and on our terms. Whether it's seeking spiritual enlightenment, a deeper connection with nature, retreating from traditional values and conventions, or simply finding space for personal meaning, solitude becomes an indispensable ally. It's no surprise that many people seek it out. It's often said that it's better to be alone than to wish you were alone. We might question whether we truly crave solitude as social beings. We can constantly feel the desire to be alone for various reasons. Interaction implies a constant exchange. We give and receive, but sometimes neither what we give nor what we receive matches our desires, making social interaction more of a burden than a benefit. While close relationships can foster personal growth, they can also limit our freedom, the peace of not constantly having to consider another person. Active social life can be enjoyable, but the more time we spend socializing, the less time we have for meditation and spiritual growth. As the Rhinoceros Sutra suggests, being part of a group or belief system can provide support, meaning, and a sense of community. However, it can also disrupt the authenticity and individuality highly valued by figures like Marcus Aurelius. Although contact with humanity enriches us in many ways, it often comes at the expense of our connection with nature, a connection highly valued and intensely preserved by Stoic philosophers like Henry David Thoreau. Ultimately, social interaction has its cost, and sometimes this cost can be too high. However, solitude also has its price, especially when it is excessive and unwanted. Depending on the person, prolonged isolation from others can be harmful. The problems of loneliness and isolation are compounded, And while some people lack social interaction, they find it difficult to achieve it. So, while it may be better to be alone than to wish to be, it is also true that it may be better not to be alone than to wish it. Finding balance is essential. In my experience, this balance is not fixed. It depends on who I am, my life situation, and my needs at the moment. It requires daily self-reflection and constantly asking myself what I want and need. I don't deal in absolutes. My desire for solitude and social interaction constantly changes. This continuous process of self-analysis helps me balance my time alone and with others. The more true I am to myself, the healthier my relationships become, both with solitude and with other people. Being alone is not always pleasant, and being with people when you want to be alone is also not ideal. Changing your situation requires courage. In the case of solitude, it takes courage to acknowledge your dissatisfaction and step out of your comfort zone. Recognizing the need for solitude and deciding to temporarily withdraw from social life, especially when close people are more harmful than helpful, requires bravery. This is especially important in cases of abuse, where distancing yourself from the abuser may be the best decision. Of course, the big question is whether you are ready and capable of distancing yourself. Often, the fear of loneliness holds many back. But what is there really to fear if basic needs such as food, shelter, and safety are met? The ability to feel comfortable and content in solitude can reduce dependence on others, lessen their influence on you, and make it easier to break off relationships with abusers. It's better to be alone than to wish you were alone because, in solitude, we often discover the strength we thought we needed from others. Thank you for watching this video. I hope these insights prove valuable to you. Consider sharing it with those who might need it and expressing your thoughts in the comments. Write, "I am Stoic," so I know you watched till the end. Now, which path of Stoicism will you choose, left or right? You have 2 videos on Stoicism that you'll enjoy. Until next time.